We're back with Toronto Mayoral Candidate Faith Goldy, who is currently in many polls in third place, which is quite impressive, Miss Goldy.
Thank you very much, Michael.
So let's get to the bread and butter issues now. Some of the top issues that Torontonians are concerned about: public transit, traffic. It's a nightmare to get inside Toronto by road.
Yes.
Whether it's from the Durham region or from the west side, north, or even in Toronto. It's a nightmare. Public transit is a nightmare. I want you to tell me and tell the people of Toronto, what are your plans to, number one, improve the roads of Toronto, improve our traffic, and number two, make public transit more tolerable? Because I take public transit and I can't stand it.
No, of course not. And you're not alone. You're very much the majority, with some 1 million more Torontonians who take that transit lines with you. Look, the only way to solve congestion within this city all around in a meaningful and cost-effective way is to make our public transit better. We need to offer transit as a real alternative to the folks who are now in cars. And the only way we're going to do that is if transit takes you the same amount or less time to get to where you need to go.
Preferably the less time.
Less time. That's the only way you can get me out of my car.
Yeah,
I'm a driver,
exactly.
and I've said time and time again, I'm going to be an advocate for drivers. But one of the things we need to do is, frankly, get some of the cars off the road. And not because of the green energy stuff. I'm not one of those hippy dippies, okay? Mm-hmm. I actually want a vibrant, healthy transportation system that works. So why is it not working right now? It's very simple. The people who have been designing our system do not take it. On top of that, the processes do not have a tremendous amount of oversight or regulations to penalize bad behavior. So what I want to do is, like I said, work with Doug Ford to build subways. That includes extensions of lines, making sure that we get people from the outside, inside, and the people who are already in, including a relief line, moving it at a better pace. I also want to help phase out streetcars. No one likes streetcars. I hate streetcars.
They're ugly.
Streetcar drivers don't like, or riders rather, don't like them. Regular drivers don't like them. What we want to do is bring in electric buses that would also have battery packs. So let's say, goodness forbid, there's an accident, something's wrong with the actual machine itself. They can detach from the electricity, power up the old battery pack, and get moving again. There's none of this business of we're now lost one whole lane because a streetcar is out of commission, right?
What are your views on LRTs?
Okay, so LRTs for me are a bit of a sham, to be honest. It's regrettable because we've already invested so much money into the current project. So my plan right now would not be just to kibosh it. We're at the precipice of basically launching this darn thing. But I remember during the last mayoral cycle that Olivia Chow, Chairman Chow as I affectionately refer to her, that she used to call them light rapid transit. That, friends, is a lie. There's nothing rapid about LRTs, okay? It's light rail transit. They're basically just streetcars 2.0, okay? So if you're against streetcars, you really shouldn't be digging LRTs. You're going to see kids on tricycles going by faster than LRTs, unfortunately. And it's been a real cluster bomb to what's going on across Eglinton as well right now, and that's part of my transit plan, because right now, there is not enough of a penalization system for contractors. Big bucks city contractors. These are the lucky guys, okay? They got jobs. They got well-paying jobs. They got benefits, okay? But if they don't make their project on time, there's no penalization. I want to make it prohibitively expensive for people not to deliver on deadline.
Absolutely.
If you don't file on deadline, I've worked in journalism all my life. If you don't make deadline, you're losing your job, okay? I want it more than these people are going to be losing their jobs. They're going to be paying us back money to the point where it's not cost effective for them to gamble, basically, to bid on these sorts of contracts unless they're ready to deliver on time.
The Gardner Expressway, now that is that's under the jurisdiction of the city, right?
Correct. The 400 series are all provincial. Everything else is what we do.
That's the city. Okay. So I was actually talking to a few people the other day, and I suggested HOV lanes. Mm-hmm. Now, that would benefit for a number of reasons. Number one, it would encourage people to ride share and take less cars off the road, make it less congested. I want to know what your view is on HOV lanes for these highways that are under the jurisdiction of Toronto, and maybe even persuade the Premier, if you were to get elected, to do this for the 401 in Toronto.
Right. I know. I'm not against that. And hey, if I've got his ear, maybe we could raise the speed limit on the 400 series.
You would. If you were the mayor, you would get his ear more than anybody.
I appreciate that. Look, we all know that something needs to be done about the Gardner. I saw that crackpot Keysmat said that we basically have to obliterate the eastern part of it. Like, this is a woman who is so out of touch, probably has champagne socialist chauffeurs driving her around from Yorkville to Rosedale and back. She's got no idea what's going on the Gardner Expressway. At the end of the day, we need a longitudinal plan for the Gardner. And what that looks like is, honestly, we're going to have to bury it or offshore it at some point. That's a huge, huge investment, and one that Torontonians are not going to be able to afford themselves. We're going to need help from the province and, more importantly, from the feds as well. So I would be ready to play ball with the best bid, frankly, and then work out a deal with both the feds and the province. We are the largest city in the country. We are the mecca, so to speak, of business, of arts and culture, of transportation, and it don't look like that right now.
No, definitely
not with where our transit system is, and not with where our roads are going either. Toll roads are not something I want to explore.
Oh, no.
Not at all. HOV lanes make sense to me. Expanding the Gardner, either through burial or through offshoring, it makes sense to me. But we need to make sure that it's a way that makes dollars and cents to the taxpayer as well. And it just going on, if I may, just getting back to our transit, there are a lot of things that I've taken transit all of my life, simple things that we can do that are not huge overhead to make our systems run faster. So I'll give you an example. At the end of, say, the one lines, okay, we have, when the guys come up, they come to the end of the line, they've done their U. We've got 2 bays where the subways can park. The guys get out, they're government workers, they're entitled to their smoke break, they gotta go to the bathroom, whatever. They get out, okay? Then what happens is another cart comes behind them, another one. You can sometimes have backup all the way down to Lawrence from the top of the line, okay? This is insane. If you look at any other transit system across the world, they've got 4 or 5 bays. This is a simple amount of digging that we can do to make sure that buddy number 1 comes in, buddy number 2, number 3, number 4. By the time number 4 comes in, 1's pulling out, and we've got more room. And that stops all of this rush hour sort of backup that we've got. These are the sort of simple ideas that I want to bring forward. On top of that, I want to bring a TTC tracking, essentially, via GPS. Most of our buses are actually already GPSed. We just don't have the transit control center that I'd like to, I now envision in Toronto, to make sure that, and you've seen it before, you're waiting for a bus, you're waiting there, it's supposed to be coming every 10, 15 minutes, you're waiting for 20, and all of a sudden 10 show up at the same darn time.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, I know, I've noticed
Everyone's seen that.
I really have.
We're
and then
stop
one is
that.
empty and one is completely full.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. That is something that Joe Sixpack, who rides the TTC every day, sees and says, there's got to be a better way. We do. It's going to be like air traffic control, but for buses. We're going to have transit control centers, the TTC, TCC. It's alphabet soup. They should love it.
Yeah, well, that all sounds good, but there is one thing that we have to talk about, and that's money.
Yes.
Can't do anything without money.
Absolutely.
So, Miss Faith Goldy,
yes.
What are your plans to do this in an economically responsible way? Where are you going to get the money from, and how are you going to do it? Because you're conservative. I suspect you're also fiscally conservative.
Yes, massively.
Without breaking the budget and
right.
putting us into massive debt.
Yeah, 100%. So this is going to be perhaps a bit of a controversial thing to say, but we're going to be looking at private investment and running the TTC like a business.
Okay.
We're also going to be looking at 4 to 8 year bonds as well to help getting us off the ground.
Anything in particular that you're thinking of privatizing?
Well, it depends where the contracts come in. This would be big business and huge contracts for people who want to make our system more efficient. Yeah. And there's no reason why Toronto shouldn't have some of the best transit in the world. And we want to attract that sort of business to our city. So that is something that is certainly going to be on the docket. On top of that, we're not looking to privatize the whole thing, of course. So we're going to be talking to the feds, because the feds talk a big game about all things green. They want to reduce our carbon footprint. Well, you know what the best way to do that is to clear up congestion, because when cars are sitting down on the road all day long, that's more greenhouse gases up in the air, okay? When we've got all of this stuff going on above ground, that's more greenhouse gases. Why don't we try to put a lot of our transit down into the subways? And so I'm going to be asking them for money for the biggest city in the country to make our city more green, if you will, okay, by building subways.
A lot of people hear privatization and they say, well, she's going to raise the fare on the TTC.
No, we're categorically against that. You're not going to be seeing your TTC fares go up whatsoever. Look, I'll be honest with you, folks. Right now, if you look at the Toronto spending budget, okay, our expenditures, you want to guess how much we spend on salaries and benefits?
Probably in the billions.
Okay, I'm saying as a percentage of everything.
40%?
70.
That makes me pretty angry.
70% of Toronto's budget is salaries and benefits. You want to know how much we spend on services?
Probably like 10%?
10%.
Is it exactly 10%?
10%.
Wow.
So,
that's pretty disgraceful.
You know, I don't want to pick a fight with the unions. I don't want to pick a fight with any sort of public service workers. My family, I've got people who have worked in everything from medicine to immigration to employment. I come from a family full of people who have worked, frankly, on the government purse, okay?
Right.
I get it. I know that they help put bread on the table for many families. But there is a way that we could do business better in this city and
Absolutely.
look no further
if it's
than that
70-10,
No.
I mean, if we even flip it to like maybe 50-30, that's a big difference. I mean, I didn't know it was that bad, but
Yeah.
that sounds bad.
So can you imagine if even just 10% of the salaries and benefits that we now expend, if just 10% of it, we could basically privatize and we could put that 10% towards, say, offering more services?
Absolutely.
That's a doubling in services that the city now provides, and you, the taxpayer, don't feel a thing.
When we come back, we will be talking a little bit more about the budget of Toronto. Plus, we're going to be talking about crime and infrastructure. That's all ahead.